punks," Laurel called, channeling the energy of old Al, the shopkeeper. "Stop running in my store!" Tori caught up to Kennedy and wrapped her arms around her from behind, kicking up a flurry of sawdust on the linoleum floor. "Gotcha," Tori said. Kennedy tried to wriggle out of her grip. "Nice try, you're mine," Kennedy warmed upon hearing this, though she knew it was said in the context of the horseplay. The two made their way back to rejoin Laurel, poking at each other in jest as they walked. When they were all together again, Kennedy led them to a back storeroom, and then, finally, to a large loading dock door. "Are you ready for this?" Kennedy asked as she bent over. She grabbed the edge of the steel door and rolled it up to reveal the early evening sky. The orange, purple, and rose streaks painted the vast canvas ahead, vibrant and haunting as a real-life Edward Hopper vision. Their shadows grew long as the light lit up the dark storeroom behind them. Laurel gasped, spreading her fingers wide over the urban beauty. Kennedy smiled, enjoying their enjoyment. Tori and Kennedy sat down on the elevated platform, their legs dangling against the cement wall. In silence, the three looked out onto the skyscape, punctured by trees and the occasional rooftop in the distance. Eventually, Laurel hopped down with clumsy effort to walk on the train tracks below. "Hey, get off there," Kennedy called. "Okay, Mom," Laurel teased. "I'm serious," Kennedy said. "The trains come through here every hour or so." As if on cue, the crossing signals in the distance called out with their rhythmic metallic dinging. "Come on, follow me," Kennedy beckoned, lowering herself to the ground to join Laurel. Tori followed, and they stood shivering against the crisp November breeze, waiting for Kennedy's next instructions. They watched the lights flash in the distance, alternating red blinks like a robot on the fritz. "We should cross now if we're going to beat the train," Laurel said, eyeing the oncoming machine. "Oh, we're okay," Kennedy trailed off. Tori looked at her with a knowing squint and leaned over to whisper to Laurel. "What?" Laurel exclaimed. Kennedy smiled widely, her eyes still focused in the distance. "We're going to jump the train?" "Like modern-day vagabonds," Kennedy laughed. "No way," Laurel said, backing away from the tracks. "Come on," Tori pleaded, her hands gripped in front of her. "Ha, you've seen me run before. This will not end well." Tori and Kennedy started to balk at Laurel like chickens, but she just blew them a two-handed kiss and waved. "It's been real, ladies." To prove her intent, she backed further away from them, almost disappearing around the corner of the abandoned building. "Okay, see you back home," Kennedy said, waving back. A few train cars had passed them already, so Kennedy and Tori turned their attention to the remaining ones. "See those ladders on the side?" Kennedy asked, raising her voice over the rumbles and squeaks of the train. "Yep," Tori said, taking off after one of them. "Cheater!" Kennedy yelled. She started running too, pacing the car behind Tori's. Kennedy ran alongside the ladder, gradually getting closer up the bank, and finally hooked her arm around one of the side rungs as she lifted her feet off the ground. Once she was settled, Kennedy looked up at Tori, who had easily mounted the car ahead of her. They stayed on the train for a few blocks, the vibrations of the ride sinking uncomfortably deeper into their skeletons. Kennedy called to Tori, "Hey, we have to get off before it speeds up again." "What? Get ready." Kennedy pointed to a patch of grass, and Tori nodded in understanding. As they approached the soft landing spot, Tori jumped off the ladder and rolled gracefully down the embankment. Kennedy followed, her dismount not nearly as seamless as Tori's. "Want to head back?" Kennedy asked, brushing leaves and pine needles off her jeans. "In a minute," Tori said, walking over to remove a twig from Kennedy's hair. They landed just outside of a small graveyard, the kind with flat stones embedded into the grass so that an industrial mower could quickly and mindlessly attend to the entire lot. Tori headed through the cemetery gates, but Kennedy balked before ultimately following her. They walked, inspecting the various inscriptions in the lamplight. "Hey, here's one who's our age," Tori said. Kennedy frowned, crossing her arms tightly across her chest. "Do you know anyone who died?" Tori asked, tracing the engraving with her outstretched finger. A face flashed in Kennedy's mind before she quickly wiped it away. "Yes," Kennedy replied curtly.